Hare Krishna, and welcome everyone to our weekly session on Nectar of Instructions. We discussed a couple of verses of this small book over last few classes, and we'll try and endeavor to complete third verse, which highlights 6 activities that if we do, it will increase our bhakti. It is conducive for our bhakti. Shadbhir Bhakti Prasiddhati. So let's take a look at what these 6 activities are. Let's first pray obeisances to the author, Srila Rupa Goswami. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet. This slide we've been discussing, we'll skip this slide for today. We've spoken about a couple of verses earlier, and I've just given the translation just for recap. The 6 activities, 6 things that we must seek in a guru. That Vacho Vega, Manasa Krudha Vega, Jibha Vegam, Udar Upastha Vegam, Etan Vegam Yo Vishaheta Dhiraha, Sarvam Upimam Prithvim Sashisha. So that's the first qualification that we should seek in a guru, that he should have sense control. He should be able to exercise reasonable sense control, mind control. He should be, he shouldn't be under the, he should be Goswami, he shouldn't be Godas. And such a person should also be attached to Krishna, should also have attachment, love for Krishna, and should be practically serving Krishna. We'll see later in the slides that the definition of guru is given as the one who knows the way of perfection. What is the right way? I don't want to get misled. I don't want to, waste my time. My time is limited. So I want right instructions to come to me. So my guru should know the way. He should show the way, and he should himself walk the same way. And then, if he is able to do all the 3, he is a perfect guru. And here Rupa Goswami gives the example that these 6 things one should be able to control, and then one should have pure love for Krishna, one should be attached to Krishna, one should be engaging serving Krishna. Then only such a person can become guru. And once we accept such a person as guru, he will give us those things, whatever he possesses. He possesses love of Krishna. He possesses serving Krishna. What he do, he's serving Krishna. So he will engage you also in service of Krishna. And that is how you will get purified. And that is how you will also develop love and attraction for Krishna eventually. So the second verse that we spoke about talks about Shadbhir Bhakti Vinashyati. Shadbhir Bhakti, the 6 activities which will cause destruction of our bhakti. If we indulge in those 6 activities, our bhakti can go for a toss, as we say in the today's language. So, which are those 6 activities? Atyahar, Prayasasya, Prajalpa, Niyamagraha, Janasangascha, Laulyamcha, Shadbhir Bhakti, Vinashyati. So these 6 activities, you have given the list, we have discussed through all these 6 activities. If one continues to do, then even after taking up the process of Bhakti Yoga, if one continues to engage in those 6 activities, their Bhakti will be destroyed. Third verse, which we are currently discussing, which we discussed one session, we discussed on one aspect, but later balanced things are yet to be spoken about. So this is Utsaha Nishchaya Dharya Tattat Karma Pravartanat Sangatyagat Sato Vrittihi Shadbhir Bhakti Prasiddhati. Prasiddhati is become famous, increases. It increases the 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service are being enthusiastic, being endeavoring with confidence. That is Utsaha Nishchaya. Nishchaya is being translated by Prabhupada as endeavoring with confidence. Third, Dharya. Dharya means being patient. Acting forth, Tattat Karma Pravartana. Then Tattat Karma Pravartana means acting according to the regulatory principles such as Shravanam Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna. Fifth is Janasanga. Janasangat, that is abandoning or abandoning the association of non-devotees, and 6, following the footsteps of Tattat Karma Pravartana. And Sato Vrittihi. Sato Vritti means 6, that is following the footsteps of previous acharyas. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. Now, since we are all practicing devotees, we want our endeavors to be successful. All of us don't want to do something which will result into a failure. So if we want to be successful, Prabhupada has given the assurance that if you, these 6 principles, if you follow, undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. So that should give us, make us more enthusiastic about learning this particular book and learning the scriptures and following the path of devotional service, which is going to give us complete success, assured complete success. So we will look at the purport today and some of the aspects that we have already spoken in our discussed in our previous section, and we'll just do a recap of those and we will move forward. So Prabhupada, last session we discussed predominantly that bhakti is not passive meditation. Bhakti is a emotion, and emotion is a matter of heart, and emotions can be best felt when we are not doing anything, because these are feelings, they come to us, and they can be it can give us ecstasy, it can give us it can bring tears into our eyes. Now all those are true, but bhakti, a pure devotion service, is not limited to only that. It is not just restricted to only those things. That if we do those things, if we get those experiences, then only we are doing bhakti properly. Otherwise, we are not. No, bhakti is not that limited conception anymore. Bhakti is dynamic. Bhakti is broader. And Prabhupada give us that broader perspective so that we don't get caught up in passive meditation, thinking about when will I become pure devotee. So Prabhupada writes that in the purport of the first statement, opening statement, is devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. Its substance is practical activity. And Prabhupada further give a lot of evidence in support of this particular beautiful statement, that its substance is practical activity. Bhakti is a matter of love, and love is an emotion, definitely. However, one has to act for our object of love. One if one fails to act whenever required with commitment, then that's not considered love. That's not even considered love, even by the material standards, not to speak in this from the spiritual point of view. And here Rupa Goswami gives definition of pure devotional service, or Uttama Bhakti. Uttama Bhakti means pure devotional service. Yesterday, Prabhuji, in this beautiful class, brought out all these verses from the nectar of instruction, nectar of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, nectar of devotion. This verse comes from nectar of devotion and quoted by Sri Rupa Goswami. Anya Abhilasha Shunyam is giving definition of pure devotional service, pure bhakti. Anya Abhilasha Shunyam, that's free from all exterior motives. Jnana Karmadi Anavratam Anukulyena Krishnainu Shilanam Bhaktir Uttamam. Shilanam Bhaktir Uttama. That Uttama Bhakti, of unalloyed devotion unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, involves the rendering of devotional service in a way that is favorable to Lord. Shilanam is cultivation. Cultivation means doing activities. And Bhakti Uttamam. Now, the Shilanam, doing activities, what type of activities? Anukulyena Krishnainu. Anukulyena Krishnainu means favorable to Krishna, favorable to the Lord, according to the instructions given by Lord. What Lord wants, what will make Lord happy, what it is not for our happiness, it is for Krishna's happiness, it is for Krishna's pleasure, it is as per Krishna's instructions. When we act according to this method, then that is called pure devotional service. So pure devotional service is not just feeling some sentiments. It is doing some activity which is favorable to the Lord, which is as per the instructions of the Lord. And the devotional service should be free from any extraneous motive and devoid of creative karma, impersonal jnana, and all other selfish desires. This is what we discussed. We'll not spend much time on this. We'll move forward. Prabhupada writes further in the purport that so essence of bhakti is not just feeling, which are important, but not only thing. That's not the only thing that we need to be worried of. So feelings are important, but we shouldn't only limit bhakti to feelings. But these feelings are expressed through committed actions or activities. So when we have feelings, we will just not sit idle, do nothing. We will act with those feelings. Those feelings will trigger, will motivate us to act. And those actions will be the demonstration of our love, our loving sentiment for the object of our love. Substance is how we are practically serving Krishna with commitment. The substance is how we are practically serving Krishna. When we say we are practicing Uttama Bhakti, we are pure devotee of Krishna. When we say even we are devotees of Lord Krishna, the question that we should be asking ourselves is, what are we doing for Krishna? And the closest example of selfless love in the material world, which is something similar to what we see in the spiritual world, is loving affection between an infant child and his or her mother. Now, this is where this is the very closest example that we can see. Otherwise, all other examples of love between boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, mother and elderly son, and sisters, brothers, everything, anything and whatever you can find between friends, all those are driven by motive. They are not a hetuki. They are not without anya abhilasha shunyam. No, no. There are a lot of abhilashas, a lot of underlying desires, a lot of underlying demands that are there in the relation, in every relationship. And that is the problem. That's why we don't get satisfied with any relationship completely, because no relationship can satisfy us completely in the material world, because we'll always see that it is never without motive, and we see the motive and then we get the disappointment and then we move on to another relationship, and so this goes on. That's why every relationship in material world will give us dissatisfaction for sure. So closest example. So why this is closest? Because mother is seen, the love of a mother is seen through how she is serving the child. If love of a mother is not judged basis how many times she's saying I love you to her child. I love you so much. You are my dearest child. You are my dear child. You are very dear to me. I can do anything for you. If she just say this but don't do it, then it will not be considered as a loving gesture. So mother's love is seen through how she is serving. And the child may wake up middle of the night. Child is like an alarm clock without a snooze button. So mother can't hit a snooze, can't postpone. She has to get up, no matter what time it is, no matter how much tired she was, no matter how deep in sleep she was. The moment she hears baby crying, she will get up. She has to get up. She must get up, and she will get up. And she will get up and do what is required to be done to take care of her child. And that is her love. That is a demonstration of her love. She doesn't even have to say "I love you" to her child, but if she does this activity, she does everything that is required to comfort a child, to take care of her child, then her love is seen through her action, not through her words. Even if she doesn't say anything, it will be demonstrated, evident. It will be evident to everyone that how much she loves her child. So love is tested with what we are ready to do for our love. As Prabhupada says, substance of bhakti is not sentimentality but practical activity. The sentiments are there, sentiments will always be there, and sentiments are good also. Sentiments are not to be rejected completely, because we will feel, we have all are human beings, we all have feelings, and feelings, the sentiment of bhakti is not wrong, but not to acting on those sentiments is wrong. So we must act on the sentiment. So we discuss also about how bhakti, how the devotional service. That's why Prabhupada translated bhakti as devotional service. Now, devotion is a part of sentiment, is a love, is a emotion, and service is practical activity. So Prabhupada has combined the two and given us a reminder that whenever we talk about bhakti, it is not mental speculation, it is not sentimentality, it is not just being emotional, feeling emotions about Lord. It is all about doing service. If you have those emotions, because of those emotions, you should be seen doing service, some seva. And the more you do seva, more the emotion, more should be the service that you should be doing, more should be the surrendered mood in which you should act for Lord, for the pleasure of Lord. So more the sentiment, bigger the commitment, bigger the surrender, and that is what one should hope to achieve. And so service, Prabhupada says that service is like a vehicle for devotion and engine for devotion. Now, what do you mean by vehicle? Vehicle is one who carry. So through service, mother's love is demonstrated. So similarly, so when we serve Lord, when we chant, when we dance in kirtan, when we serve prasad, we do whatever is required, asked by our seniors to do. When we do that, our that is expression of our service. This is called service. Our love is visible through our service, and that's why service carries that our sentiments and demonstrate it in front of Lord and everyone else, that we mean what we say. We say we are practitioners of bhakti yoga, and we are not just going to sit idle and do nothing. We are going to go out and serve Krishna in whatever way that will please him, that will make him happy, that will give him the pleasure. I'll not do things for my pleasure, but I'll do things for Krishna's pleasure. Giving pleasure to Krishna is the goal of my life, and that those activities becomes a vehicle to express our emotion, express our heart to Krishna, and so relationship between Krishna and devotees is all about activity. In the spiritual world is a place where both devotees and Lord Krishna are engaged in performing practical activities for pleasure of each other. Now, Prabhupada writes in Bhagavad Gita purport that the infallible Krishna gets a lot of pleasure by giving service, by serving his devotees. And the devotees, on the other hand, all are also always eager to serve Krishna, and they get a lot of pleasure in rendering service to Krishna. So the one of the one of the one of the one of the symptoms of progress in bhakti is when we start searching for opportunities to render service and we feel happy about doing it. Not that when we are told to do, we do nicely, that's good, but we should hanker for service, hanker to serve more. We should be eager to serve more in whatever way we have been asked to serve by our seniors. When we become eager for service, and we get a lot of pleasure out of doing that service, that is one symptom of our progress, our transformation of our heart. That's one progress, or a symptom of sign of transformation of our heart. So by performing devotional service of Shravanam Kirtanam, so how it is engine, so we understood how it is a vehicle, but Prabhupada says that it's also like an engine. So Prabhupada gives that we saw discussed in the last session that example of a movie where a hero forgets he makes an accident, his head hit against a rock or some object, and he forgets who he was. So and then he stopped. Then because he don't know he's the son of a billionaire, the richest person in the country, and he because he's been rescued by tribal people. He start living with them as if he's also a tribal, because he doesn't remember anymore that he was son of some rich man. But when his father comes searching, they show him objects of he realized that he's lost his memory, and they by seeing different objects that were dear to him in the previous time, his memory of previous life is revived. Similarly, when we perform devotional activities of devotional service, like when we sing for the pleasure of Lord, when we dance for the pleasure of Lord, when we take prasad for the pleasure of God, when we visit dham for the pleasure of Lord, when we do activities for the pleasure of Lord, and we our our dormant, by doing those activities, our dormant love for Lord also invokes. And there, that is called revival of our forgotten love for Krishna. And hence, this is like an engine gets things kick-started and gets things into motion. So our love, which is dormant, which is idle, which is, which is not moving, so gets into action. Our love gets revived, and that's why it's like a engine also. So these are the 9 activities Prabhupada list, which give the example of Prahlad Maharaj, who's spoken this verse, that these 9 activities one should perform. And Prabhupada talks about Shravanam, or hearing, as is the first step of acquiring non-transcendental knowledge. So one should not give oral is a reception to unauthorized person. Now the question is, we may hear, we may want to hear, but there is so much material available. So go to YouTube, and so many things are available on YouTube. Whom should we hear? Who are authorized persons? And what should be, how do we find out, and what should be the proper person recommended in Bhagavad Gita? So that's explained in the 34th verse of 4th chapter, that how one should approach a pure devotee and seek information from him, seek knowledge from him. And wherein Krishna says that Padvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnanina stapva darshana. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. A guru must be must be the one who knows the way. A guru must be the one who shows the way, and guru must be the one who himself walks the way. He has to know the way, he must show you the way, and he must walk the same way. That is authorized guru. So when we search for people, this is the criteria. This is how we can understand if they are really genuine gurus. How much are they attached to Krishna? How much are they attached to the philosophy that they are speaking? How much are they implementing in their personal life what they are preaching? And are they preaching from the authorized scriptures, or are they preaching some mentally concocted version of the scripture? Because that's also important. So in this regard, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Rupa Goswami another beautiful verse, which is frequently quoted verse: Brahmande Brahmita Kono Bhagyavana Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Beej. Now we are discussing that we want to hear now Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. Now we want to hear, and we want to hear from right person. And how we should hear? We should hear submissively. We should offer some seva to the Guru. We should we transcendental knowledge, we should, in exchange, we should offer some service. We should offer our obeisances to the Guru. We should offer our service to the Guru. Yesterday, Prabhuji broadly discussed that how much, what should be the Guru who, Vande Guru who, Charanarvindam. We in the Gurvashtakam prayer that we sing, we don't just refer to one Guru. We refer to the parampara, the entire parampara, and that includes our Shiksha Guru, our Pathapradarshak Guru, our the one who has shown us the way. Even that person is also important. He might not be the teacher, he might not be our Shiksha Guru, but whoever has helped us become a devotee, who's come closer to Krishna, now that person, we treat him as Guru. And all those gurus are important. They all need to be respected in the same way. So, tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnana sevaya. We should inquire by paying humble obeisances to them in a submissive spirit. By doing some seva, we should ask our transcendental questions, and they will then give knowledge to us. They know the way, they show the way, and they himself walk the way. That's important. Again, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu highlights another significant verse in which Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhaktilata Vijna. Yesterday we sang Yasya Prasadat Bhagavat Prasado Tas Yasya Prasadat Nagati Gutopi Dvayamstu Vanstasya Yashastri Sandhyam Vande Guruhu Shri Charanarvindam. Now, this verse, which we sing as part of Mangalarti every day, in this particular verse, the Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that if Krishna becomes unhappy with you, there's no need to worry, because Guru is, as long as Guru is pleased with you, even if Krishna becomes unpleased, Guru will ensure that Krishna's opinion is changed about us. But if Guru becomes unhappy with us, then what is our shelter? Nobody, we have then no shelter. So that is the importance of a Guru. So Prabhupada writes, and so in the translation of this verse, in the course of traversing the universal creation of Brahma, some fortunate soul may receive the seed of Bhaktilata, the creeper of devotional service. This is all by the grace of Guru and Krishna. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, 19th chapter, Shloka number 151. So, Prabhupada writes in the purport that material world is a place of confinement. Confinement means like a jail. It's a place which is like a jail. And it's a very limited, where people are locked up. People are bound in this place. And Prabhupada writes that living entities who are by nature Anandamaya. Anandamaya, pleasure seeking, which means pleasure seeking. Now they actually want to be free from the confinement of this world of conditional happiness, but not knowing the process of liberation, they are bound to transmigrate from one species of life to another species and from one planet to another. Prabhupada writes a fundamental problem that we are all soul, and soul nature, innate nature of a soul is Satchit Ananda. Sat is eternal, Chit is full of knowledge, and Ananda. Ananda is a pleasure seeking, is always wants to be happy. And the eternity and happiness combined gives eternal happiness. So souls wants to be eternally happy, but in the material world, he is eternally unhappy. And that is the real problem of his life. So what is the solution? So a lot of scientists are trying to create solutions which they believe that will create a heavenly environment on the planet Earth where there will be no worry. However, the birth, old age, disease, and death will continue. The Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik, and Adhyatmic kleshas will continue. The mental sickness will only grow as the material bondage is growing. the as the technology is growing, science is growing, as people are becoming more and more tech savvy, they are becoming more and more lonely and more depressed. And that is leading to the increase of mental health issues at all levels. Not only amongst the old people doesn't know why to live, how to live, and what is in front of them. My life expectancy has increased, but the life quality has deteriorated in a great way. So those people end up spending whole their day in watching videos, watching WhatsApp, and watching TV. So the youth is busy with so many plans for increased plan how they can increase their quality and quantity of sense gratification of eating, mating, sleeping, defending. How where how can they have become more controller? How can they get more wealth? And so that is keeping them busy there, and that is giving them a lot of frustration because our endeavors, we can only get what Krishna permits. Upadrashta anumanta cha bharta bhakta maheshwara. So Krishna has is overseer. We may desire to become the richest person in the world, but if we don't have proper karmic credit, we will never become one. And Krishna's no sanction come, no anumanta. Anumanta, he has to sanction, he has to approve. And that approval doesn't come, which means we cannot become the richest person in the world as per our desire. So then that leads to frustration. Even if we become rich someday, somebody else tomorrow will become richer. And again, that will lead us to frustration. So in this way, we are bound in this material world with permanent happiness, permanent unhappiness. We are getting eternal unhappiness, eternal distress. And what we want eternal happiness. But we don't know what is the right process because we don't study scriptures. We don't take to the scriptures. We don't come to Bhagavad Gita at early age. And therefore, what we do, we act according to our whims and fancies. We act according to the instruction given by somebody, unauthorized instructions. We act on unauthorized sources, information that we get from unauthorized sources. And by acting in that way, we incur karma. We act under the influence of sattva, rajo, tamo guna. We produce reactions, the fruits of our actions, and to suffer or enjoy the fruits, we keep coming back. We keep accepting newer and newer bodies from one species to another species, from one planet to another planet. In this way, living entities are wandering throughout the material universe. When by good fortune one comes in contact with a pure devotee and hears from him patiently, one begins to follow the path of devotional service. Such an opportunity is offered to a person who is sincere. Now, all of us should really, Prabhuji, yesterday's class, he said that at least 3 times you should thank Prabhupada. Because Yashastri, some, Dhyamstu Vanstasyu, Yashastri Sandhyam, Vande Guru Shri Chanar Vindam. Now, Srila Prabhupada has created ISKCON and given us this opportunity to practice, to hear, to read, associate with him, to read Bhagavad Gita, to read Srimad Bhagavatam, and follow the process of Bhakti Yoga that he has prescribed. Now he has given this knowledge, he has given the facility, and he has shown by personal examples and examples of his disciples, that examples are also available, that how one can become a pure devotee of Lord. Now those people are in front of us. Now we have everything that we need. All we need is our own cheshta, our own endeavor, and our path to liberation, path going back to Krishna is assured. If we take up in a wholehearted way, nobody can stop us. Even Krishna is eagerly waiting for us to come back to the spiritual world. So this opportunity is received by us by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and mercy from Lord Krishna. it is, are we should think it this way, that I am completely unqualified. I am, as Nattu Prabhu says many often, that uh, I should consider myself as fool number one. I should consider myself as the fool number one, the most undeserving person. And if we really look inside our heart, our desires, our sentiments, we will agree. We'll agree with this statement that I am fool number one. But because of the mercy, because of some mercy that Prabhupada wanted to show for no reason, I somehow got connected with devotees. I somehow got connected with Krishna consciousness process. I somehow, by their mercy only, Krishna's mercy only, I started understanding some part of it. तेषां सतत युक्तानां भजतां प्रीतिपूर्वकं ददामि बुद्धि योगम त्वाम येन माम उपयांति ते. Dadami Buddhi Yogam, I give them additional intelligence by which they can understand my birth and my activities, and therefore they will not take birth again and they will come back to me. This is I'm combining the two verses of the 4.9 and 10.10. So, so this understanding of us that by we are not deserving, so we are extremely fortunate to have got connected with a path of pure devotional service. Now we should take maximum advantage of the same. Now we should not let this opportunity slip through our hand. So the two verses, Purusha Prakriti Sohi Bhunte Prakriti Jangana Karana Guna Sangasya Sat Asad Yuni Janmasu, that lower Sat Asad and the lower and higher species of life, one takes birth because they associate with gunas. They act under the influence of gunas because they had a desire, bhunte prakriti janmana, they had a desire to enjoy the material world. So this is the bija vakya. Why? What is the root cause of our problem? Another beautiful verse that we took from 13.26. This is with reference to the that how by simply by hearing and patiently one begins to follow the path of devotional service. After hearing, if one start practicing devotional service, then your path of going back to Krishna is assured. Prabhupada is assuring that sincere, if you hear sincerely, then again, there are Prabhupada in the 13th chapter, Prabhupada explains that who can transcend Mrityu Shruti Parayana, Mrityum Shruti Parayana, who can transcend the death. Those who are not very expert in spiritual knowledge, but they begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. And because now, so simply, even though you are not very expert in the spiritual subjects, however, if you hear faithfully, if you hear attentively, and after hearing, you start acting, you start following the instructions given by your seniors and given by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. If you perform devotional service, if you start performing devotional service by hearing, then because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death. That is good enough. So even though you're not expert in spiritual knowledge, but by hearing faithfully, by hearing attentively, and acting on what the knowledge that you're getting, performing devotional service with faith and with all our sincerity, we can also transcend the Mrityu Shruti Parayana. Shruti Parayana, by taking shelter of Shruti, hearing, we can transcend the ocean of Bhava Sagar, ocean of birth and death. So we'll take an example of farming to discuss the 6 aspects that are discussed here, especially the Utsah Nishchay Dharya. Now, the example of farming is quite apt because for farming we need a farmer requires the land and requires the seed, the potent seed, and he needs to have enthusiasm. He needs to have acting confidence that the seed is the land is fertile. The seed has the potency to grow, and if I endeavor with enthusiasm, with confidence, then I have a very good chance of getting the harvest, getting the crop. But so a farmer has to work hard with enthusiasm and act in confidence. But and he may sow the field, he may plant the seed, and then he has to wait because he has to have the confidence that the rains will come, the water will be available, and the crops will grow. Now the crops may not grow overnight. Crops will take time. So a farmer still also has to be patient. He has to have dharya. He has to wait for time to come, the appropriate time to pass, and then the crops will grow. He has to do whatever he needs to do to to ensure that the crop is being taken care of. Now he also has to protect the crop from invaders, from animals, from birds. So he has to do a lot of actions, and he will follow the examples of how others have done it. By doing this, he will get harvest. He will, at the end of the term, the crop will grow and he will get harvest. So, so this can be understood from another metaphor of somebody taking medical treatment. So when we are sick, we want to hear, we want to know that there is a treatment available for our sickness. And if the treatment is available, the doctor should also be available, medicine should also be available. And if we and we also should know that previously this some patients have also got cured because of this because of due to this similar to by taking similar treatment. And that will give us enthusiasm to accept the treatment, to follow the doctor's instruction. So this will give us enthusiasm to accept and follow the treatment. Then if we will act in confidence, we'll also have to have patience, because we may take one pill today and we may not feel any effect at the end of the day. So we have to have patience. The bigger the problem or the disease is, it may take a long time for us to cure also. So and doing what is being told to do. We should be, if we have been asked to exercise regularly, we should exercise regularly. If we are asked to avoid certain type of food, we should avoid certain type of food. Then we should protect ourselves. We should not go, if we are diabetic, we should protect ourselves from eating sugar or going to places where sugar is consumed, so we don't get tempted to consume more sugar. Or in general, whatever we've been asked to do to protect ourselves, not get the same infection again, we should be looking forward to do that. So that way also we can understand that utsaha nishchaya dharya tat karma pravartanat sangatyagat sato vritti shadbir bhakti prasiddhati. This is how this will be implemented even in the material world. The principles of this verse are also useful for us in the material world. Now, Prabhupada gives the example of ISKCON is giving such a chance to humanity at large. But if by fortune one takes advantage of this opportunity to engage in devotional service, the path of liberation immediately opens. Anyone who comes in contact with ISKCON, Prabhupada writings, except Prabhupada book, except Bhagavad Gita written by Prabhupada, Bhagavad Gita as it is, as given by Srila Prabhupada, come in contact with Srimad Bhagavatam, again, commentary written by Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, for them, and if they are prepared to act on the knowledge that they are getting, so Krishna says, Krishna always gives this, gives this theory that you don't have to sit idle with the knowledge. Krishna says in the the 10th chapter, 8th verse, Aham sarvasya prabhu matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samavita. Means iti matva bhajante mam. Now you knowing that Krishna is the source and source of everything is not enough. Knowing about Krishna's greatness is not sufficient. And what is expected out of you is, sir, is that you should start worshipping Krishna. In the 15th chapter, 19th verse, also Krishna says a similar thing. That Yuma Yumam evam asambudho janati purushottamam sa sarva vida bhajani mam sarva bhavana bhajata. That janati purushottamam, that once you know that I am that Uttama Purusha, Yumam Evam Asamuro Janati Purushottam. Once you know that I am that Purushottama, that I am that Uttama Purusha from whom the whole creation has happened, and who existed when nothing existed, and who will continue to exist when everything will get annihilated, who is the source of everything, who is the creator of everything, who is the maintainer of everyone, will be the destroyer of everything as well. Everyone is helpless in front of him. Mattah parataram na anyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. No one is equal to him or greater than him. Now, such a great personality, what you do once you know about such great personality, what do you do? So, sarva vida bhajati mam, sarva bhavena bharata. Start worshipping me. They start worshipping me. Once they get this information, they start worshipping me with all their heart and emotions. Now, so this is action. So, by hearing, we get knowledge, but by getting that knowledge, we should translate that knowledge into action. If unless the second part happens, the first part has no meaning. It's just mental speculation. It's useless to just hear and not act sincerely. It's all our hearing will get wasted. So ISKCON, again, Prabhupada reiterates the point that ISKCON gives that facility, ISKCON gives that knowledge, ISKCON gives facility where devotees can come together and practice Krishna consciousness. And ISKCON gives examples in Srila Prabhupada's own life or in the life of his disciples. So this is where we are, and this is to enthuse us to practice up Krishna consciousness with all seriousness. This is what Krishna wants. This is what Prabhupada wants, and this is the only thing that you should want for yourself. And you should do it. Just do it. Prabhupada talks about utsaha. One should accept this opportunity to return home, back to Godhead, very enthusiastically. Without enthusiasm, one cannot be successful. So this is our opportunity to end our cycle of repeated birth. Your neighbors are not aware of it. Your uncles and aunties and grandfathers and brothers, sisters are also not aware of it because they've never read Srila Prabhupada book. They have never read Srila Prabhupada Bhagavad Gita. What do you do? Now they all will continue to function in the material world. They will all continue to get Sat Asat Yoni Janmasu. But what does it do for you? You should practice with enthusiasm, because everyone has to fly their own plane. We all came alone. We have for certain time, for certain period, we have some association. We have our parents, we have spouse, we have children, we have relatives, and they will go. The time will come when each of them will go. Our grandfathers existed a few years back. Today they are no more. Our parents existed a few years back. Today, they will start departing, leaving their bodies. And so is the case with other people as well. When time will come, our body for us to give up our body, we will leave. Those will continue. Some of those will continue to exist in their body. So the point is not that what do we do with them. Point is, what do you want to do with yourself? Prabhupada gives a very clear instruction that you should accept the opportunity to return home, back to Godhead, very enthusiastically. Without enthusiasm, there cannot be any success. So even the Antobat compares that with what we do in the material world. That material world also, we have to be, if we want to be successful in any particular field, we have to do that activity with a lot of enthusiasm. A student, businessman, artist, whoever wants to succeed in their respective fields must act in enthusiasm, must be enthusiastic. Similarly, one should be very enthusiastic in devotional service. A lot of people take devotional service, bhakti, as a cheap as a cheap thing. Means for my medical degree, I have to work hard. I agree. I'm very 100% convinced for getting an engineering admission in the best college. I will I will work like an ass, work like a donkey. I'm prepared to do that. I will work like a donkey just to get an admission to the best of the college, desired college. Um, I will travel from morning to evening, and just to get some extra bonus, just to work hard to get that extra bonus. Now, and this is, but when it comes to bhakti, we want everything easy. We want everything now. We want everything cheaply. We want everything to be done at a click of a button. God, yeah, I want to see God. That's how people approach the process of bhakti. Bhakti means, which is more difficult. You should be prepared to do more endeavor. Getting you are fed, you are getting food even when you didn't knew ABC. Krishna was arranging food for you, and Krishna will continue to arrange food for us, even if we don't work like a donkey. So, so this is the problem, that our enthusiasm is for material actions, but when it comes to spiritual actions, we become lazy, we become short-sighted, we want everything very quickly. We are not having any patience. There's no enthusiasm, there's no patience, and there's no confidence. We are all filled with doubts. So everything negative that we possess, and that's where Rupa Goswami and Srila Prabhupada want us to correct that this should be our mood, and for that we should take to the learning of scriptures with all our seriousness, more seriously than how we studied our chartered accountancy, more seriously than how we studied our engineering, more studiously, more enthusiastically than how we work in our offices. So that this is going to give us permanent result. Those are all temporary results. You may get bonus 1 year, next year you may not get bonus. You may get promoted 1 year, next year you may get kicked out of that same company. So everything is temporary in the material world. So we should do lesser efforts there, and greater endeavors should be reserved. Greater time should be reserved for bhakti. So Prabhupada writes further in the purport that enthusiasm means action, but action for whom? The answer is that one should always act for Krishna. Krishnartha akhila cheshta, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It is not that one has to confine or narrow one's activities. Now, Prabhupada will explain, or a lot of people have this conception that bhakti means only a limited set of activities. Means bhakti means reading Bhagavad Gita, reading Bhagavatam, worshipping deities, offering agarbatti, offering bhoga to deities, then going to tirtha, doing some seva there, giving a donation for festivals, participating in festival. Now, these are all bhakti. Yes, these are all covered under the broader principle of bhakti, but bhakti is more. Bhakti is more than that. Prabhupada expand the scope of bhakti. Bhakti is dynamic. Bhakti is not static to showing agarbatti. So that is included, but that is not limited. So Prabhupada expands the scope of bhakti to say that one is not confined or narrow one's activities. Krishna is all pervading. Therefore, nothing is independent of Krishna. As Krishna himself states in Bhagavad Gita 9.4, Maya tatam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina matsthani sarvabhutani Na cha aham tvesha avasthitaha. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Under Under the direction of bona fide spiritual master, one has to make everything favorable for Krishna's service. For example, at present, Prabhupada gave example of a dictaphone. And a dictaphone is a machine that Prabhupada was using in US when he went to America, started preaching, he got started getting disciples. And then they said to Prabhupada, okay, you want to translate, use this machine, you speak into this machine and somebody will type later. You don't have to worry about writing. So it becomes made his job easier. It became much faster because if he had to write all the purport by hand, it would have taken him much longer to complete all the purports that he wanted to dictate for Srimad Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita or even Bhagavad Gita. So that dictaphone, which was invented by somebody, it was never invented for the purpose of translating Srimad Bhagavatam. Uh, but 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 the dictaphone per se is used by the material energy, which is nothing but the bhumi, rapo, nalo, vayu, that earth, water, air, fire, ether. So these five elements are different combination of those five elements is nothing but that dictaphone is. Also, the brain who invented this machine was also supplied by Krishna, and the ingredients which were used in making the machine are also supplied by Krishna. So, this one sense, this dictaphone is non-different than the energy of Krishna. It's only the conversion of energy of Krishna, and hence Prabhupada didn't mind using it in service of Krishna. So it is not independent of Krishna. Nothing in this world that we can think of is independent of Krishna. And that is why we should learn Bhagavad Gita sincerely. That is what we should become expert in subject matter of Bhagavad Gita as much as we can. That's why we should repeatedly read Bhagavad Gita. Um, so, thus, a devotee can understand that since nothing is independent of Krishna's energy, everything should be dovetailed in his service. Dovetail means it can be used for Krishna's service. All of you are logging in from your respective homes. You are using internet, aren't you? And that internet was not invented so that we can hear Bhagavad Gita classes online. However, we are using it in Krishna's service. The same internet can be used for watching movies, for watching pornography, for watching cricket matches, and that is not something that Krishna wants us to do. That is not something that will make Krishna happy. So we should avoid doing that. So this is when the devotees sitting from a distance are trying to endeavoring hard to learn the scripture and then modify their behavior according to the instructions of the scriptures, Krishna becomes happy. This is for the pleasure of Krishna. The use of your laptop, use of your mobile, use of internet is for the pleasure of Krishna. So this is dovetailed in Krishna's service. The endeavor, Prabhupada gives a beautiful definition for enthusiasm, utsaha, is that endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is called utsaha. Now, we must endeavor with intelligence. It's not that utsaha is replacement for competence or skill. Skills are also required, but just having skill, if you have no utsaha, you will not perform, you will not do anything. So having skill is not sufficient, but endeavor with intelligence, with skillful endeavor in Krishna consciousness is utsaha, is required. So we see around us, a lot of people are endeavoring with a lot of enthusiasm and use a lot of their intelligence in stock market, in politics, in making movies, in doing some scientific, inventing new and new televisions, inventing newer and newer smarter phones, and so on and so forth. So there also intelligence is used, but there also the utsaha is there. There also confidence is there that this will be, the product will be developed and the product will be useful, product will be manifested, and all the material energy supplied by Krishna is used in making that product. But it is not in Krishna consciousness. Those activities, if they are not in Krishna consciousness, then that is wastage of activity, wasting our precious time and energy and effort. So devotees find the correct means by which everything can be utilized in service of Krishna. Yeah, everything in the service of the Lord. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagyam Uchate. The Yukta Vairagya means basically everything. We don't want anything for our enjoyment. We want everything for serving Krishna. So if we want have laptops, we can get best of the laptop. Not because it gives me pleasure, because using which I will be able to better serve Krishna. So the devotees use the best of the things that are available for the service of Krishna. They don't use mediocre things, because if you want to chase a materialist person who is running away from Krishna in a Mercedes, you also need a BMW or a similar car of similar potency. So you should not have anything less than that. Otherwise, we'll never be able to catch those people and bring them back to Krishna. So devotees, you will see devotees using best of the facility, best of what they have. They don't want it for their purpose. For them, they can survive. Just like Prabhupada used to say that where he took his disciples to Mayapur and they were sitting under a tree, and Prabhupada instructed that make this Mayapur, we will make the world, make Mayapur the world headquarters of ISKCON. And devotees from all over the world should come here to learn Chaitanya Charitamrita and participate in Sankirtan. So Prabhupada said, for us, I can sit under a tree and I can get the same, I can see the fruits of Mahaprabhu's mercy everywhere. So I don't need that facility. However, the people who will come from all over the world, they don't have this vision. They cannot perceive Mahaprabhu's mercy in this dham of Mayapur dham. So for them to be able to come here to practice, to learn, and then to practice, facilities are required. So Yukta Vairagyam Uchate. Yukta Vairagya. It's a concept. It's a concept one has to understand carefully, and one using that one has to interpret the activities of great souls. Yukta Vairagyam Uchate, the execution of devotional service. Prabhupada writes further that the execution of devotional service is not a matter of idle meditation, but practical action in the foreground of spiritual life. So Prabhupada concludes with the same point that he started, that it's not idle meditation. Yesterday we were in temple, today morning we were in the temple, everybody was dancing and chanting the Guru Arti and the Kirtan subsequently. Maharaj took a little time for him to come down. So there was an extended Kirtan that took place. And everyone was dancing and chanting happily, singing and dancing happily. And there were some few people who were sitting in a meditation pose with closed eyes. Now, this is not bad, but this is not is what is going to take you back to Krishna alone. You have to act in your, if you have the devotion, if you have the love for Krishna, you have to act in that emotion. That emotion is seen, translated into action when it is translated into action. Otherwise, it just remain mental speculation. So that's a warning that Srila Rupa Goswami gives and Srila Prabhupada gives in this verse. The Prabhupada writes further that these activities must be executed with patience. Now, here start talking about this concept that one should not be impatient in Krishna consciousness. We heard from the example of a farmer, that a farmer who has done the sowing, who has plowed the field, is very confident that the seed is potent, the sowing is done, the watering has been done, and then now he says, okay, I'm waiting for the crop. But he has to be patient because the time has to elapse. Prabhupada gives example of a Navavadhu who has to wait for at least 9 months to get her baby, and who has to have confidence in her husband, who has to serve her husband, and eventually she will get a baby. And for that also she has to wait for another 9 months. So indeed, this Krishna consciousness movement was started single-handedly. Now, Prabhupada gives his own example about patience, that how much patience Prabhupada has exhibited, how much patient Prabhupada was. Now, Prabhupada, we all know Prabhupada, till 1960-61, there was no success to the Prabhupada's preaching effort. Jhansi was a failure. Prabhupada had to leave that place. There were so many devotees who were interested, suddenly turned their back on Prabhupada. Prabhupada had to leave that place. 61, around that time, he came to Vrindavan and translated Srimad Bhagavatam, published. He got some finance for publishing Srimad Bhagavatam first canto, which he published in 3 volumes. And then he started giving those books to President of India, Prime Minister of India, and so on and so forth. So he started getting some success. Eventually, he got a ticket, a return ticket to America by meeting Srimati Morarji in Mumbai. And then he boarded the ship, who went to America. But even in America, it was not immediately, there was no success. For about 1 year, Prabhupada struggled very hard, extremely hard. Again, he used to live with a boy who was very interested in becoming his disciple, but suddenly in the rage, he had taken drugs, and in that rage, in that he lost control over himself, and he attacked Prabhupada. So Prabhupada had to flee from that place without carrying anything. His tape recorder was stolen. He was living in a complete hellish condition externally. The people had no. Prabhupada was so much respected in Vrindavan, and in America, people were so much ignorant. They didn't knew how to respect a sadhu, how to respect a sannyasi. What a sannyasi means, they didn't know that. They just found Prabhupada funny because he was wearing saffron, dhuti kurta. And Prabhupada had to fight with so many factors. The weather was completely, New York weather was completely foreign to Prabhupada. Prabhupada has never experienced snow, never experienced that kind of a weather. The facilities in America were pathetic. He didn't have a home, didn't have any money. So he was struggling. The getting vegetarian food stuff was struggle. People were extremely rude. Most of them would be in always drunk condition or intoxication condition. There was violence everywhere. Now also we hear the news of violence, school violence, here violence, there violence. It was so rampant there. People would be, so whole environment was so much contaminated for a practicing sadhu, practicing devotee, that unimaginable it was. And there, Prabhupada had to struggle for 1 year, almost full year before he start seeing traction, before the new devotees becoming more fixed up, getting attracted to Prabhupada, becoming fixed up in the Krishna consciousness, give up their bad habits, took up new habits, started chanting, and all that. The transformation happened. But how much patient Prabhupada was all throughout his life. I mean, imagine he got his instruction to preach in Western countries in 1922, and 1966 is when ISKCON was established. So how much patient Prabhupada was. So Prabhupada brings up the same point that initially there was no response, but because we continued to execute our devotional activities with patience, people gradually began to understand the importance of this movement, and now they are eagerly participating. Prabhupada writes further that one should not be impatient in discharging devotional service, but should take instructions from spiritual master and execute them with patience. Depending on the mercy and guru, they will get the outcome. So last time we get question that anartha nivritti ho nahi rahi hai. गुस्सा मेरा कम नहीं हो रहा है, my sensual desires are not going, my attachments are not reducing. So is there a problem in the महामंत्र? मैं महामंत्र और दो तीन मंत्र करना चाहिए क्या? इंटेंसिटी बढ़ाना चाहिए क्या? So what is the problem? Why? So we have to be patient in our execution of devotional service, and the results will come because Prabhupada assured them, Lord Krishna assured them. So by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, the results will come, but we must execute with patience. If we are impatient, it will do no good to us. This is the only path. We have to have a confidence that this is the right path. I am on the right path, and if I become more sincere, I will attract mercy from my Guru and Krishna, and that will lead me to success. But if I become impatient and I turn back, then I have no other right way. This is the only right way that exists. And by going, taking left, taking right, or turning back, I'm just, I'm just delaying my progress. I'm just delaying my opportunity to go back to Krishna. I'm delaying the ultimate success of my human birth. I'm postponing it, so I should not do it. So Prabhupada writes that the successful execution of Krishna consciousness activities requires both patience and confidence. Prabhupada gives the example of a newly married girl. And he writes that similarly, in devotional service, surrender means that one has to become confident. The devotee thinks that Avashya Rakshibo Krishna. Krishna will surely protect me and give me help for the successful execution of devotional service. This is called confidence. We should have the confidence when we accepted this path of Bhakti Yoga given by Srila Prabhupada. Now we should be completely confident that if Prabhupada says by chanting good 16 round and by following Prabhupada 4 regulative principles and by studying Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, we will go back to Krishna. By just doing these three things, we will go back to Krishna. Then we should have full confidence in Prabhupada and Lord Krishna. And we should do these three things with that confidence. When we do these three things, we will actually go back to Krishna. If we become doubtful, if we break regulative principles, if we neglect regulative principles, and if we don't study Shastra, don't have much faith on the Shastra, don't serve devotees in a humble mood, becomes proud, then there is no hope for us to go back to Krishna. Prabhupada writes further, one should not be idle, but one should be very enthusiastic about executing the regulative principles. Tat tat karma pravartana. Now, even regulative principles also need to be executed, followed with a lot of enthusiasm. One should be enthusiastic that about following the 4 regulative principles. The neglect of the regulative principles will destroy devotional service. The Prabhupada writes that the neglect of the regulative principles will destroy devotional service. The 4 basic regulative principles here are the forbidding illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication. These 4 activities we must not do in any condition. The meat eating, gambling, intoxication, and illicit sexual activities. These 4 things, if we are able to protect ourselves from, we come to human platform. We don't become devotee by avoiding those 4 things. We just become a human. And from there onwards, we are able to take up the devotional service. So these 4 things brings us to a platform of a human. If by indulging in these 4 things, we are becoming living life like an animal. Now, for animals, there is no devotional service. So one should not become animal. One should come to the human platform by following the 4 regulative principles, and then take up the process of Bhakti Yoga, perform the devotional activities with enthusiasm so that they can achieve perfection. So a devotee must be very enthusiastic about following these principles. If he becomes slack in following any of them, his progress will certainly be checked. Prabhupada writes further that in addition to these four regulative principles, yama, there are four positive regulative principles, also niyama, such as daily chanting of 16 rounds on japa mala beads. Yesterday we heard that good rounds or attentive rounds. Now, these regulative principles must be faithfully performed with enthusiasm. This is called Tattva Karma Pravartana, or varied engagement in devotional service. Prabhupada writes further that in order to be successful in devotional service, one must give up the association of undesirable people. This includes karmis, jnanis, yogis, and other non-devotees. Once Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked that what are the general principles of Vaishnavism, as well as the general routine activities of the Vaishnava, and Mahaprabhu explained that asat sanga tyaga a Vaishnava achara, that characteristically a Vaishnava is one who gives up the association of worldly people or non-devotees. Asat sanga tyaga. If one lives in the association of devotee, there is little chance of associating with non-devotees. Prabhupada twist the whole thing that rather than saying no, 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 say yes. Say yes to what? Staying in association with devotees. The moment you come in association of devotees, your opportunity to associate with non-devotees reduces. So as long as if you are fully in association of devotees, then there is no time left for you to associate with non-devotees. And that way, indirectly, you are avoiding their association. We'll take a look at this chart, which we had seen once while discussing the previous verse. So, Krishna, so our power of association, or our association, it can be seen as a triangle. So there's a Krishna on top. On the left hand side, we ourselves are there, me, I am there, and the double arrow shows our relationship with Krishna. The double arrow is showing that this is our relationship with Krishna. We are trying to work on our relationship with Krishna, and we are trying to work on our bhakti, cultivating our bhakti, our increasing our love for Krishna. We want to do that. And we are working on our own Krishna consciousness. The double arrow says that there is a reciprocation. I am performing devotional service, and Krishna is also reciprocating through directly or through his disciples, his guru, through my Shiksha Guru, through other devotees. So this is our condition, Krishna and ourselves. Here is my association. Who is my association? My association can be my father, can be my mother, can be brother, sister, younger, older, my spouse, my children, can my grandfather, my uncle, my jijaji, my this, my that, my close friend, my chaddi yar, chaddi buddy, one who has been my friend since we were probably teenagers, or we were very very small. Since that time, somebody is my friend. Now those people, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my neighbors, my colleagues, office colleagues, my bosses, now they all qualified to be here. That others in the social circle, they are my social circle. I associate with them. And they individually also have their relationship with Krishna. And there is a double arrow, assuming that they are also practicing Krishna consciousness. This double arrow indicates that. And this double arrow indicates our relationship with them. Now, there could be multiple scenarios. There is me, there is my association, and this is Rima. What can be the scenarios? The first scenario is I'm trying to become Krishna conscious. And my association, they are also trying to become Krishna conscious. So I have read Bhagavad Gita, my association, my spouse has also read Bhagavad Gita, and she is also convinced that iti matva bhajante imam buddha bhava samanditaha. That I have to become a Buddha. If I'm becoming Buddha, I have to worship Krishna with all my heart. And this is I have to, and this is what she is practicing. My wife is practicing, or my husband is practicing. Then I am practicing Krishna consciousness. She is also practicing, or he is also practicing Krishna consciousness. And this is the best case scenario. Our relationship between two of us can be extremely good, can be most conducive. This is the best case scenario. That we are trying to become Krishna conscious, they are trying to become Krishna conscious, and we help each other in our endeavors, material as well as spiritual endeavors, to help each other become Krishna conscious more. We don't distract each other. The second case is where we are trying to become Krishna conscious, but our association is God conscious, not Krishna conscious. They're not believers on Krishna. They don't consider Krishna as the only God, Krishna as the supreme Lord. Or maybe Krishna is one of the Lord, and whoever you wants to worship, you're okay. It's okay. It's all one finally. Whether you want to worship Ganesha, Durga, Shiva, or Brahma, or Krishna, it's all one. Doesn't matter which deity you pay obeisances to, it's all one. We also become one, whatever is there. Or there must be faithfully worshippers of Ganesha, faithful worship of or Ram, or faithful worshippers of Hanuman, or whatever, Lord Shiva's faithful worshippers, or Durga Devi's faithful worshippers, whoever they might be, but they are God conscious, they are God loving, they are God fearing, and but they may not be accepting Krishna's authority as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now they are extremely favorable. Now we we don't have to be at odds with them. We don't have to be necessarily in conflict with them. They are extremely favorable. We should value them. We should love them. We should care for them, depending on who they are. And because whatever they are doing, eventually they may come to the conclusion that okay, this demigod worship better than demigod worship is Supreme Lord's worship, and they may become favorable to bhakti, to perform devotional service to Lord Krishna as well. So it's extremely favorable situation. Third scenario, we can be Krishna conscious, and our association, our can be believer, but not have any clear idea. They may have concocted something on their own that nature is God, Paramatma. They generally Paramatma ke kripa se sab hoga. Whatever, they may not want to name it, they may not even know what they mean, but they are still good human beings. The people in second and third categories are extremely sattvic. They could be very, very sattvic individuals. And they may be believer in some power, but they may not have name to it. They may not even be worshippers, but they are again extremely favorable. If they are in our association, we should value them, we should care for them. Not necessarily we may try to preach to them, but they are in a very sattvic mode. If by little preaching by us or by our other devotee, our seniors or other devotees, they may come to Krishna consciousness. They may take up Krishna consciousness because they are naturally inclined. They're almost very, very fertile, almost ready to become Krishna conscious. So by right strategy, they can become Krishna conscious, and then again they can become number one, the best case scenario where they are trying to become Krishna conscious. We are also trying to cultivate our Krishna consciousness, and relationship between us is extremely good. But even if that is not the case, even if that doesn't happen, our relationship between this case 2 and case 3 should be extremely good. We should value them. We should be worried about them. We should be caring for them because they're extremely, extremely good people. They're not going to block us from performing our sadhana. So the third scenario, the fourth case is we are trying to become Krishna conscious, and our association is non-believer, or either they could be non-believer or they could be neutral. That maybe God exists, maybe God doesn't exist, maybe there is some power, or maybe it all happening automatically. I don't care. I don't really care. And so this is not bad, but this is not, but we must get our space to practice. Now, This is where in the second and third scenarios, these people will have some kind of practice of their own. They may not be, they must be doing some japa, they must be reading some scripture, they must be doing some kind of activity, devotional activity of their own, based on their own understanding, based on whatever the guidance that they would have got. Wherever their faith is, accordingly, they must be doing some endeavor, some worship, some vrata, some fasting, some tirtha, yatra, something they must be doing. Now, with proper knowledge, they can get elevated to Krishna consciousness. But the fourth category people probably are not doing anything. Now, this is where the problem is. Then the second and third case, it is easier for us to convince people saying that, okay, you are doing japa of whatever japa, that mantra that you are chanting, I will chant my mantra because I'm convinced about this. This is much easy trade-off. There could be some conflict. No, my mantra is better than your mantra. If they are our elders, they may say that, but that can be resolved, that can be addressed, that can be managed. That they will chant their mantra, we will chant our mantra, and overall our relationship, nothing, it will not come in between our relationship. No, our relationship can be very good, very proper. But in the fourth case, this is a case of non-believers. They don't have any mantra to chant. They don't have any deity to bow down against before, or they don't have any any guru to become submissive. So these people are not doing any of those things, and they see us do these things. There can be a reason for conflict. They may question us if they are our elders, if they are our uncles, our jijajis, our grandfathers, and they may question us. And if we are unable to, at times we can try and answer them. However, at times we need to find our space. We are all adults, and everyone, we must protect our boundaries and not let others encroach our personal space. And this is where we should draw some line. We may not have a very hard positioning, but we need to create space for ourselves to practice our Krishna consciousness, and so that they don't interfere unnecessarily into it. The fifth case is a problem. The problem is becoming severe. He's an atheist, and many atheists want to criticize God. They don't just stop being a non-believer. They go ahead and start. Now their aim, that just like devotees want others to become devotees, these atheists want others to become atheists. They are not neutral. They want others. They want to debate with people to prove their atheism is right, and so hence they will instigate us, and they will test our knowledge. They will test how much we know, what we are doing, why we are doing. If we are unable to create that argument, then they may, and if they happen to be our elders, they may just bulldoze our spirituality. They will just then it will be very difficult for us to, it will become a very hostile situation to defend ourselves, our Krishna consciousness. Then therefore, Tattva we should understand. Yesterday, Prabhuji said that one of the new resolution we all can take is to understand things as they are. We should try and understand some Tattva. We should have some foundational knowledge with which we should be able to defend our bhakti, our practicing of bhakti, why we do what we do. If we are not convinced about ourselves, we cannot explain it to anyone. And then people will just bulldoze their opinions upon us. And so this is again another New Year resolution all of us must take, that to have a proper understanding of Tattva. And if we don't, we should keep talking with people, those who we think, those who have. And that way, somehow or the other, get that understanding, get that foundational knowledge, strong foundation of Krishna consciousness inside your mind, so that if some atheist attacks, we are able to defend ourselves. Now, here, the remark I'm saying that we must demand and protect our space. to practice. So we may not get easily our space. A neutral person may allow us to do whatever, he's less bothered. He doesn't care much. But an atheist who is out to prove atheism is right and theism is wrong is not going to give you space easily. If he is in the position of authority, he is our elder, then he will bulldoze his opinion upon us. Now, this is where we must demand and, if required, fight to protect our space for practicing Krishna consciousness. Now, the atheist, the last category is that atheist who is no more in the debate mode, who is trying to block us from practicing Krishna consciousness. So it's no more a triangle. This other our association from here, he comes and sits somewhere here. Now he comes in between us and Krishna. Now our Krishna consciousness is a relationship between us and Krishna, and this association comes and sits somewhere here. Now this is a hostile situation. Now this is to be dealt with extreme firmness, extreme care. There's no more a triangle, then it becomes a straight line, and they are blocking our Krishna consciousness. Now, as Prabhupada said, we shouldn't let anything come in between us and Krishna. With great fortune, we've got this opportunity to practice Krishna consciousness. We shouldn't let anyone take away that opportunity from us, no matter what the price that we might have to pay. So what should we do? We should consult in every stage. We should consult senior devotees, but especially in the last 2-3 stages, there should be active consultation that we must do to assess correctly the situation and then act accordingly. So giving a bad association, Sangha Tyaga, has a lot of work to do. It is much. It is not as easy as it may sound. Prabhupada writes further in the purport that devotional service means transcendental activity. On the transcendental platform, there is no contamination by 3 modes of material nature. It is also called as Vishuddha Sattva or Shuddha Sattva, the platform of pure goodness. In this Krishna consciousness movement, we require everyone to rise early. Now, Prabhupada is writing, Tatat Karma Sato Vritti. Yeah, I think this is. Yeah. In this Krishna consciousness movement, we require everyone to rise early in the morning by 4 a.m. and attend Mangala Aarti or morning worship. Then read Srimad Bhagavatam, perform Kirtana, and so forth. Thus, we hold continuous activities in devotional service 24 hours. This is called Sato Vritti, or following in the footsteps of previous acharyas who expertly filled every moment of time with Krishna conscious activities. A lot of time we get a question, how can we remember Krishna 24 hours? So this is the solution. This is the solution that Prabhupada gives, that if we do this activity, but of course the question will still come that, oh, but we have to go to office, and our office is not Krishna consciousness office. We don't work for Krishna, and we have to give the fruits of our work to Krishna and remember that throughout our day as much time as possible. In between the day, we have to take prasad, lunch prasad, and that way we can try and remember Krishna at the background, even though on the foreground we must be doing what we have to do in our respective offices or businesses. However, so this is Sato Vritti, following the footsteps of previous acharyas who expertly filled every moment of time with Krishna conscious activities. So Prabhupada explains the Sato Vritti as well. All the 6 activities are explained. So if one strictly follow the advice given in this verse by Srila Rupa Goswami, namely being enthusiastic, being confident, being patient, give up association of unwanted persons, following the regulative principles, and remaining in the association of devotees, one is sure to advance in the devotional service. According to Bhagavad Gita, Ya Nisha Sarvabhutanam Tasya Jagrati Sayamim Yam Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani Sa Nisha Pashyato Mune. What is night? Ya Nisha means what is night for all the being is the time of awakening of the for the spiritual, for the self-control. And the time of awakening of for all the being is the night for the introspective sage. What does it indicate? That once we accept Krishna consciousness, once we accept the path of Krishna consciousness, we will find that there is a contrast that we will see in the what we want to do and what people want to do. People around us wants to do. Our friends wants to go to a late night movie, night out is what they typically want to do. Whereas if we become a devotee, we want to get up early morning and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Now we may this is completely this is very contradictory. Those people, our association, with whom we used to be part of that group up till just recently, they want to sleep at 4 a.m. and we want to wake up at 4 a.m. How horrible! How can we reconcile the two? No, they cannot be reconciled. This is like a day and night. No, day and night can't be reconciled. One has to choose what one has to do. And being on the spiritual path, one must do these 6 activities, which are foreign, which are completely unknown, which are completely considered unnecessary, unwanted by the rest of the population who are not into Bhakti Yoga. So for them, it is waste of time. It could be waste of time. It could be unnecessarily. It can be postponed. Why do now? Do it when you become 70-year-old, if you at all live till then. But it is definitely not not appreciated by our association, by people around us. So, tasya jagrati bhutani. Yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyatoni. So this is as contradictory as day and night, and hence we will see frictions every now and then, unless our association is also in Krishna consciousness, and our of then it's all reconciled. Our day is their day, our night is their night. All of them wake up at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock. All of them sit down together and chant Hare Krishna. All of them are interested in only taking prasad. All of them are only interested in going to a tourist place, not a tourist place, but to a tirtha, to see Lord, hear about Lord's pastime. All of them are engaged in some kind of a service, whatever work they do, they all donating regular basis to Krishna's propagating Krishna consciousness movement and various activities of Krishna consciousness. So there is complete reconciliation. Now this is a happy position. But if one of them is non-devotee, then everything in whatever we spoke, if for everything there will be options available with them. That instead of going to Vrindavan, let's go to Leh Ladakh. Now, going to Leh Ladakh may not necessary and do some trekking. Now, this could be this is not a sinful activity. Going out in Himalayas for trekking is not sinful, definitely, but it is nothing incomparable to going to Vrindavan and seeking Lord's mercy. Developing our love for Krishna. It is nothing. Even if we are able to climb on all the mountains in Ladakh, it will just makes us puffed up, just boost our ego. And even though it is not sinful, it is not making us humble in any way. It is not making us submissive to Krishna. We will not go there and appreciate beauty and saying that this is Krishna's smile. This is like, this is Krishna's glory. And we will forget Krishna once we go there. And if we are actually able to climb some mountains, then we will just come back thinking how great we are. Then there's zero Krishna consciousness. So when people are when we deal with non-devotees, we should expect conflict at every step. And we should be prepared for that. However, if we have devotee association, and devotee association is such an important point that Rupa Goswami will be elaborating on that further in subsequent verses as well. That how much especially within devotee community also, we see there is a need for associating properly with devotees, and that will be taken up by Sri Rupa Goswami in subsequent verses. So, so as far as the non-devotees are concerned, we should be prepared for conflict. And all of us, since most of us are practicing Krishna consciousness for some time, all of us at different times have experienced this and dealt with it. Again, we should have good devotee close association for consultation. We shouldn't think that we know everything and try and do everything on our own. But we should consult senior devotees, some other devotee friends on a regular basis, just to check if what we are doing is right or not right. So that we don't do end up, we don't want to hurt people also around us. Even if, as I said, the stage one is perfect case, but stage 2 and 3 are also not bad. Stage 3 and 4 is also not bad. So we must, if they happen to be our loved ones, our near ones, dear ones, we must care for them. We shouldn't look down upon them saying that, oh, I'm a devotee, you're a non-devotee, you're a sense gratifier, materialistic person, or you're going to go to hell, you're going to. No, that's not ideal. That's not good approach. A devotee has to be compassionate with everyone. We should see compassion. With compassion, we should see them that if they are practicing something, we should try and give them a better source, a better resource to understand that higher principle exists. And if through others, if they can learn, they can accept it, they can learn that will be so fantastic. We'll be able to bring one more soul closer to Krishna as a result. So wonderful it will be. So we should definitely not look down upon anyone. We should respect even an ant, what to speak of humans, especially those who are close to us. So there's no question of looking down upon anyone. Just because we have some knowledge, we have some practice, we consider others are useless and bunch of jokers or a third-class person who are going to rot in hell and in their or going to get animal's body in the next birth. We don't have to be that cruel. We just have to be more compassionate, more loving. We just have to be more loving towards them, more caring towards them, more compassionate towards them. And by our compassion, their hearts will also change. So Prabhupada writes further in the purport that devotional service is so pure and perfect that once having begun, one is forcibly dragged to the ultimate success. Very beautiful statement. Devotional service is so pure and so perfect that once having begun, one is forcibly dragged to ultimate success. Now, ultimate success, Prabhupada quotes very clearly, clear words, no confusion, that going back to home, going home, back to Godhead is the ultimate success of our sadhana bhakti. Only by that, we will be able to terminate, our repeated cycle of birth. So that success can be achieved almost guaranteed once we begin. Once we make a start, all of us have made that start. So we should be very confident that eventually it will happen. If we apply ourselves nicely, it can happen in one lifetime. But even if we goof up in this lifetime, we will be, Prabhupada writes that one is forcibly dragged to ultimate success. Why? It's not that Krishna changed the rules. Krishna remove our free will. No, but he gives us so many different opportunities to come back to him. Now, once we have accepted Krishna as the Supreme Lord, Supreme Father, our object of our love is Krishna, then Krishna immediately wants to reciprocate through different ways. And he doesn't get tired of doing that. As Gajendra says that Muktaya Bhurikarunaya Namo Lalaya. I'm paying obeisances to you, Lord, who never get tired of trying to trying to help your devotees to come back to you. Never get tired of trying to help your devotees to come back to you, because you are Namo Lalaya. So beautifully he describes Lord as the one who never gets tired. We get tired. कितने बार फोन करने का, कितना मैसेज करने का, नहीं आना है तो छोड़ देते हैं इसको, अभी जाने दो. Krishna never gets tired. He will keep sending reminders. He will keep giving us, sending devotees in our life. He will keep showing us signs, showing us objects of that through which we remember how we used to practice Krishna consciousness. Even if we leave today, there is no loss. Prabhupada says that one is forcibly dragged to ultimate success once having begun. And Prabhupada quotes two beautiful verses from Bhagavad Gita 9:31. Where Prabhupada says, Arjuna prati janehi name bhakta pranashyati. My devotees will never perishes. And again, Bhagavad Gita 2.40, Krishna says, Neha bhikramana shosti pratyavayo na vidyate swa alpam ati asya dharmasya trayato mahodavaya. That in this endeavor there is no loss. And even little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Therefore, a devotee should be confident about his engagement and should not be very interested in activities of the paramis and gyanis and yogis. So, Ananya Chetaha Satata Yoman Smrati Nityashra. Krishna writes speaks in Bhagavad Gita 8.14. Again, in 10.10 also he said, Tesham Satata Yuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam. Satata Yuktanam Ananya Chetaha. Ananya Cheta, that comes when he's Ananya Cheta is without any deviation, without कुछ करना चाहिए, मे बी ये देवता का भी कुछ करना चाहिए, मे बी उनका भी कुछ करना चाहिए, मे बी ये भी फास्ट कर लेना चाहिए, मे बी ये तीर्थ में भी जाना चाहिए, मे बी वहां पे भी जाके दंडवत करके आना चाहिए, ये सब बुरा नहीं है. नो, दे आर कॉन्फिडेंट. शनि की माया है, राहु का प्रभाव है, ये है वो है, दे डोंट केयर. A devotee is confident, and because of this confidence only he is able to perform devotional service unto the feet of Lord Krishna without deviation. Ananya chetaha satata, without deviation of mind, without even getting a slightest doubt, without even thinking of alternate options. There is no plan B. Krishna is the only plan A, and the only plan is Krishna. That is what the position of his Sakha. So they walked inside the mouth of Aghasur, thinking that even if he is a demon, doesn't look like a mountain, doesn't look like a cave. Maybe he could be a demon, but even if he's a demon, why should we be bothered? Krishna is there behind us. He will protect us. He will figure out his worry. How to not let harm come to us is Krishna's business. That is his problem. We should do what we want to do. Let's go inside. Let's see what's there inside the mouth. And then they walked into the mouth of Aghasur. And even seeing them walking with so much confidence, they didn't have confidence on themselves. They didn't have confidence on whether this is Aghasur or not, whether this is a demon or not. They had confidence on Krishna, that Krishna will protect. And because they had that confidence, even Krishna was bewildered that, oh, why these people are walking into the mouth of Aghasur? I must do something now very quickly to protect them. So that is the mood with which Krishna becomes very eager to protect us, to provide us yoga kshema vahamyam, provide us what we lack and protect us what we have. So devotees should be very confident, and with that confidence, when they practice, the success just becomes a matter of time. So we'll summarize, and then we'll take some questions if you have any. The 6 elements that can grow devotion: Shadbhir Bhakti Prasiddhati. Since all the devotees of the Lord are under the protection of His supreme potency, they should not deviate from the path of devotional service and take to the path of karmi, jnani, or yogi. Now, what does karmi do? Well, we should, I think, spend a minute discussing these 3 paths which are there. Karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga. That's explained in Bhagavad Gita. We all have studied Bhagavad Gita. We regularly read Bhagavad Gita. So, karmi, and who are these karmis? Do we label people around us as karmi, jnanis, or yogis? Well, we can do that, but generally everyone is busy in doing some karma. But those who believe that karma alone will take us, they've taken the shelter of karma. They think karma is the only activity that they have to do. There's no devotion in their life. Such people are typically karmi. They do karma. Some may do karma for as a matter of service to humanity, for helping animals, for helping birds, for helping old people, children, women, and so on and so forth. So then the sick people, and so on and so forth. So that's a karmi. Karmi will do activities. So karmi also can be a sattvic person. May not always necessarily do karma for the sense gratification alone. Karmi also has that connotation. That karmi means generally labeled as a person who is busy in sense gratification, who do only actions for the purpose of sense gratification. But a karmi who believes that old people should be helped and therefore open an old age home. Sick people should be helped, so build a hospital. Cancer patients should be helped, so do something for them. Even those are karmis. Gyanis are the mental speculators, and yogis who are trying to meditate, learn the meditation, and they think that by learning meditation, they are doing spirituality. This is their way of spiritual. They don't do anything else. And they never take up devotional service. They don't have any information about the supreme personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So they never become submissive, humble to Him. They never render service to Him. And therefore, their path going back home, back to Godhead, becomes more and more difficult. All the three active people, for them, they have to, at some stage or the other, they have to surrender to Krishna. Krishna speaks in the Bhagavad Gita that in the 15th chapter, one of the most beautiful chapter, Tata padam tat parimargatavyam yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuyaha. Tata padam tat parimargatavyam yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuyaha means having reached a place from where they don't have to come back. Having reached a place from where a person does not have, a soul doesn't have to come back to this material world. Also, what will that soul do there? Having reached a place from where he need not come back. It could be the Brahma Jyoti of the effulgence of the Lord, which is a object of desired object for many practitioners of spirituality. So even if you reach there, tata padam tat parimargatavyam yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuyaha, what that soul will have to do as a next step, tameva chadyam purusham prapadye yata prasuti yata pravruti prasuta purani. He will have, having reached such a place, from there, he doesn't have to return to this material world also. There, he will have to go and search for Uttam Purusha, from whom this whole pravritti has got prasuta. Prasuta means has been created by him. You have to search for that Purusha and then you have to surrender to him. So that Uttama Purusha you have to search and you have to go and surrender to him there. So if you avoid surrendering to Krishna while in material world, you have to do that in Brahma Jyoti. Now doing it in material world is so difficult because of our self-ego. Imagine if you reach Brahma Jyoti, which is impossible practically for the Kali Yuga men, but by some mercy, by some endeavor, if you reach Brahma Jyoti, again after having reached there, you have to do that same thing again. You'll have to surrender to Krishna. You'll have to find out Uttam Purusha and then surrender to him and then go back to the spiritual world. The spiritual world entry is only limited, only restricted to those who are ready to lovingly serve Krishna unconditionally. So, so that's why karmi, jnani, and yogis, all their endeavors, unless they become devotee of Krishna, all their endeavors are wasted. Does not yield them any benefit. They may get better birth, better facility to have sex, better facility to in their next subsequent birth, eating, mating, sleeping, defending. They may get better facility to do these activities, but they remain here. Their domain doesn't change. Their field doesn't change. They remain in the material world almost perpetually, unless they become devotee of Krishna. So it is so, one may find that it's so exclusive, isn't it? One has to become devotee of Krishna, and then only one can go to Krishna's home. Tam dhama paramam mama. But it's not very difficult to understand, because if we want somebody to enter, somebody who desires to enter our home, he must make us, he must win our condition, consent. We must get our consent to enter our home. And we give consent to allow him to enter into our home, provided he is not offensive towards me. So he is not hostile towards me unnecessarily. I may be more powerful, but I will not like such person to come to me. So, so it's very easy to figure out why and how we should become devotee, and we have enough knowledge, we have enough facility, we see enough examples in our Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada, and so many wonderful devotees described in Bhagavatam, that seeing them, we should feel the motivation to become a devotee like them, and then Tattat Karma Pravartana, enthusiastically executing the regulative activities of devotional service with patience and confidence. In this way, one can advance in devotional service without hindrance. So our facility for japa, morning japa, we see count reducing every day. So we encourage everyone to make a serious effort to join japa session every day. It is important to chant with devotees. We all want to hear you chant. Hare Krishna Mahamantra, also Shikshashtakam prayers. From next week onwards, we'll stop, Ravi Prabhu to stop showing the Shikshashtakam prayers, and we'll expect people to remember and speak those prayers, chant those prayers without seeing the slides. When we should aspire to do that. Why not? Till how long we've been reading those slides for a month now? Till how long we want to continue trying to memorize those slides? There's 8 verses, very beautiful verses. We should just memorize them and then chant in the morning japa session without referring to the slides also. So, evening reading session of Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad Gita, again, very important. All of you are requested to join, make time convenient and join these sessions and take full benefit. Somebody is reading on our behalf. We don't get time to read, at least somebody is reading. Let's hear them read. Let's submerge ourselves in the Krishna consciousness. And we should read ourselves also. We must read, make some time out of our busy schedule to remove time for reading at least one verse, so that we associate with Prabhupada, we associate with Lord Krishna, we hear directly from the original source, and by chanting those verses in Sanskrit, our hearts will get purified, our consciousness will get purified. Our capacity to choose right over wrong will increase. A lot of people struggle with making choices because their sadhana is weak. They are unable to give up lower desires. They keep coming back haunting them. They are just haunted by those lower desires. Every time it comes up, it just sucks their consciousness, and they are unable to fight it because their sadhana is weak. So do nice sadhana, do nice reading, and with that, follow all the instructions given to us by senior devotees, and Prabhupada guarantees our success. What more assurance we want? So we move on the path of bhakti with more confidence. So let's break for any questions that we might have.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. You have a
So
question?
as usual, Prabhuji, you take actually the topics to that level that you actually mentioned, even the minutest thing with such good elaboration that I don't think I am firmly convinced that even no one would be having any question. We might have our personal question, but on topics, you leave no space for the questions, Guruji. And hopefully everyone in the congregation will agree with my that statement. And You beautifully mentioned so many aspects of this, and the two statements that hit me was that the example of doctor you gave, and since I was in the medical background, and in the medical background, doctor gives reassurance to the patients, and your every session, and especially this, was very reassuring that we will go back home, back to God, as you quoted that wonderful statement of Srila Prabhupada that once someone starts a devotional service, he is forcibly dragged to the ultimate success. So, what other kind of guarantee someone can actually want from anyone? Even in the materialistic world does not give this kind of guarantee that whatever product we take, that is ultimately going to be with us permanently. It is going to give us permanent happiness or the permanent destination. Nothing gives us, but your beautiful session is giving on behalf of Srila Prabhupada. So thank you very much for reassuring us that we are on the right track. And since till the time we will be getting the association of the senior devotees like you, who are firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness, even are going to that level, somewhere closer to that level, or remaining fixed in Krishna consciousness is also guaranteed. But ultimately, that is whole lot of your mercy and endeavors to make us more and more Krishna conscious. So thank you very much for your very, very beautiful, very wonderful endeavors, Prabhuji, that are actually taking us, our consciousness closer to Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. All glories to our senior devotees and acharyas and Srila Prabhupada. So all their mercy, which is postpones. No, nothing more than that. So I don't see any questions in the chat box, but these are all personal topics. They are, because they are all our personal endeavors related to our personal endeavors, and the association is especially, we all might have personal issues. So if anyone wish to ask a question, please feel free to send me a voice note or a text message on the WhatsApp, preferably, so that we can discuss at any convenient time and try and seek answers. Tat Parma Pravatana, struggle with the rules and regulations. There could be questions, there should be questions. And I can imagine which are difficult at times to ask in public domain, but feel free to send those questions to me. By keeping those questions to yourself, it will do no good to you. So feel free to send out those questions, and we can combine, we can try and provide some answers. If not, we can take those questions to our senior devotees, and hopefully they will help you get a satisfactory answer so that you can practice Krishna consciousness without any doubt. So that's so the whole nectar of instruction is like that. In the subsequent verses also we'll see that a lot of these are very personal things that Sri Rupa Goswami is advising us about. Next was, we may hear that bhunte bhojayate evam shadvidham priti lakshanam, that feeding devotees and inviting devotees to our home, and we going and accepting prasad on other devotees' home. This is a lakshana, priti lakshana. This is a lakshana of a priti, loving, affectionate relationship between devotees. Should we be doing it? Should we call devotees? Will they come? There could be questions. There could be hundreds of questions. There should be questions around the whole process, because now we are taking a step further. Bhagavad Gita was a general description. None of those were instructions to Arjuna, instructions to us. But now those instructions are personalized by Rupa Goswami to us. And then when we are discussing them, now everything, it should be in relation to me. Am I doing this? It should be the question in our heart should be, am I done this? Am I done that? Have I done that? If not, then how can we do this? That can be the meditation. And if these questions come up, feel free to reach out to our senior devotees or me, or I can pass on this message to other devotees so that we can provide some answers, so that we can then practice of Krishna consciousness become without doubts, asamshaya. So with this, we'll end today's session. Thank you everyone for joining, and we'll hope to continue with this session, Krishna willing, on next Sunday with the 4th verse. Till then, have a Krishna conscious week ahead and see you all next Sunday. Thank you so much, everyone. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
मगाशी मी बोलत
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम
प्रभु जी
हरे कृष्णा
एवढा वेळ एक्सपोर्ट झाली
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम